All right, so today I'm going to talk to you about identity, which is a word that occurred to me much later in life. I come from a place called Ashaiman in Ghana, and my topic today, the title Beyond God, is a testament to why I come from, where they usually tell you that your expectation in terms of your achievement in life is usually, if you do your best, you could get to high school. And if you get to the university, you are among the peak of the class. So having to go to high school or to the university wasn't anything that I had to dream about. Your society kind of puts a cap on where you can be or where you can go. So that's why I chose this title, Beyond God, which is from a collection of poetry written by an uncle of mine who has passed away. Okay. All right. So when I was given this idea that I had to do this TED Talk, I was like, okay, what exactly am I going to talk about? This song kept playing in my head. I believe, how many of you know this song, Redemption Song by Bob Marley? All right, can you go with me? Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Woo! Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing the songs of freedom? Cause all I ever had is redemption songs. All right, so being born in Ghana, you usually get the question when maybe you go to school, Wufrihi, where are you from? Or who are you? In another part of the world, my experience, the question was, are you a Nigerian? Because you look like one or you sound like one. And then in another part, the question is, where are you from exactly? And I'm going to take you my experiences in various countries that I got these questions. Okay. All right. So this is a picture. So because I'm starting from the beginning, I'm going way back. So this is a picture of two of my sisters behind me. Which one can you guess is me, in the red or the blue? No, I'm the red. Yeah, I polished that very well, didn't I? All right, so this is where it started, where I had to go to school. My dad had 14 children, and his quota was you get some level of education, which is primary school, and then you can go learn a trade. So as stubborn as I was, I decided to go beyond that. So I finished what is called junior high school in Ashaiman, which is part of the capital city, Accra. And then I was moved back to the village where my dad said, go and learn a trade. So I decided to learn how to sew. That is when I came across this uncle of mine. His name is Dale Jatashi Masiesta. He looked at my result and said, no nephew of mine with this grade will go and learn how to sew. You have to go to school. Now, this was the person who didn't even complete high school, but he ended up opening a research center where he taught African traditional religion, wrote poetries, novels, history of African traditional religion, wrote poetry about South Africa, about Kenya, so many countries. And he was an inspiration. But you're telling me to go to school when you didn't finish. But I did go anyway. And yeah, the picture at the top there is me performing one of his poetry to a group of young American students. One of them was an African American. This poetry was about slave of the Caribbean. And she cried till she didn't even want to go back from where she came from. All right, so then I went to high school, which taught me leadership and culture. Even the fact that I was born in Ashama and I'm an Ewe, I couldn't even speak my language very well. I had to go back there to learn some of the dances, how to play the drum and all of that. And coming from such an environment, when you ask me which instrument do you play, I'll be like, I play the Agbaja drum. I played a fontom from, or I played a gatigo, which later on that perception changed in a different environment. When they ask you that question, which instrument do you play? You either say you play a piano, the guitar, or something that they think they're supposed to be familiar. Now, from high school, I was lucky enough to be selected from my high school by university. We said it's selecting students from what you call less endowed schools. About 3 years of my high school, about 2 years of it, I had to teach a lot of things to myself because we didn't have enough teachers. So they selected me. I went to the university, went through the 4 years of struggle, and then completed, which this woman on your right, on the right, she paid for most of it. But my dad ended up in most of the majority of the seats where for the graduation, he decided, I'm the man, I'm supposed to be there. So these ideas of the fact that the father is supposed to pay for this and that because he paid, he's supposed to represent in certain things, my mother taught me otherwise. Now, I finished, worked at Kwame Norvixoxo University of Science and Technology for a year, and then I got a scholarship to go to Kenya. Before then, all I knew about Kenya was Nairobi music festivals, and I was really excited to go to Kenya. So I got to Kenya. The fascinating story for Kenya, about Kenya for me was that when I got there, before I got there, my name was Kwame Norvixoxo. And then I got there, it's a bunch of people who look exactly like me, no difference. The language is different, and I tried to learn some of it. Habari asubuhi, vizuri, pesa ngapi, 100, 200, 300, unafanya nini? And then, so, thinking I'm part of this group of people, I ended up staying there for 1 year without a visa. This is my people. This is still my continent, right? So why do I need a visa? Until I went to the immigration office and they said, sit here, we'll be right back. You're supposed to be deported. I managed to sneak out and spoke to the immigration guys in my school and got my visa. Then from there, I had to move to another African country. Nkosikeleli Africa. Oh, isn't that beautiful? All right, so before I got to South Africa, all I knew about South Africa was that almost everyone in South Africa can sing because I watched Sarafina. And then I also watched Shaka Zulu. So apparently everybody in South Africa should be walking around with a spear. And then the media also told me that everybody in South Africa had HIV/AIDS. And then the same media told me that everyone in South Africa hates foreigners. I was like, okay. I was a little bit hesitant, but then I still had another scholarship to go do my postgraduate degree, doctorate degree. So I set off and I went. My first experience on arriving was when I saw a room being advertised as available, and I needed an accommodation. So I called and said, hello, how are you? I see your room is available. We said, yes, it's available. Then the next question he asked me is, where are you from? I said, I'm from Ghana. I said, no, it's not available. Then he hung up. Then over the period of 6 years of being in South Africa, I came to know that I was actually black. And secondly, I was an African. Not only an African, I was classified as a foreign African. And all sorts of complex identities that I began to ask myself, what does it mean to be an African? So this is the beautiful Cape Town. Now, before I went to South Africa, the word race was a verb, which means we are going to have some athletics, right? Then I got there, apparently race actually meant comprehensive things. That my supervisor said a lot of things to me that later I find out, oh, that is actually racist. But then within all that context, I'm trying to find out what exactly is my identity? Who am I? Now, so I ventured out of Africa, went to the place where my colonizers came from. And before I went as a visiting PhD researcher. They asked me for requirements, and one of them was proficiency, English proficiency. So I wrote back to the admission guy and said, what proficiency? Did you see my document? Every single one of them are requirements for me to what? Write in English, speak in English. In primary school, you get a dog bone around your neck for speaking your own language. And you are asking me for English proficiency? Unfortunately, I will never produce that. If that's the basis, I'm not coming. I did get the admission anyway and went. So it was an interesting experience where you're told, London, UK is a place to look forward to. You've made it when you go there. But I got there and I didn't get that feeling. It was a number of people with black coats whisking past me, and hi was not, hello, how are you? The long greetings in Ghana where you find out, how is your wife, how is your concubine, how is the goats and cows, wasn't there. It took less than a week for me to have nostalgic feelings of coming back home. So I did come home. That's my grandmother, by the way. And so my home experience on all these countries, I came to the conclusion about what being an African is. My name is Kwame Norvixoxo, and I'm an Ewe. The Ewes are a bunch of people who migrated down the Niger River, which apparently was discovered by Mungo Park. A piece of me lives in every Xhosa, every Zulu, every Luo, every Kikuyu, every Swati, every Akan, every Dagati. I am the seed of many generations. So if you ask me the question, where am I from? The takeaway message is, the late Komla Dumont said, the borders of Africa that we hold so dear are increasingly become meaningless as we begin to move around. And then secondly, where you are from transcends the imaginary lines that a bunch of people sat in a country somewhere far away from this continent and drew up. And these same people that are asking you to meet a standard that you can never meet, because this educational system, English language, literature that I know about Achilles' heel, I know about the great god Hades and all that, and yet still I don't meet up to the standards. So what is your standard as an African? You have to create your own. Now, being a Ghanaian is just a 62-year-old identity. That's when Ghana got independence and they decided, you're Ghana. So the question is, before then, who were you? Who are you? Africa's history didn't start from slavery or colonialism. That should tune in. Please let that sink in. If you are taught history in school, I was taught Yasantua because the British finally defeated the Ashantis. I was taught about the guy who brought cocoa to Ghana because it makes economic sense, capitalism. So who are you? Now, take a look at this map. If you want to say, I'm a South African, I'm a Ghanaian, I'm a Sutu, I'm this and that, look at the migration pattern of our ancestors. Where they started from, walked around, moved around. So the question, again, is, who are you? Where are you from? Think about that the next time you respond. Thank you. Thank you.